Still haven't seen anything from the Olympics except the opening ceremony.
Really?
I saw that because we had like a little viewing party at our place.
Yeah.
Because one of our friends really wanted to see the opening for some reason. And to be fair, it's probably like the most interesting part of the Olympics, honestly.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
I mean, if you're not into sport, right?
I feel like you don't even need to be into sport to be into the Olympics.
Oh no, like I
There's
like
so many
sport.
good storylines, you know. It's a story.
I mean, true. But like, I think for like the majority of people who aren't into sport and don't care about the Olympics, the opening and ending ceremony are probably like the two biggest highlights of like just seeing,
I guess.
you know.
I don't really care about sports in general. I don't know why. Something about the Olympics is just fun. It's something where there's just sport that's on all day and it's changing constantly between events, so you don't have a chance to get bored. Like when I've been watching, like, you know, I might be watching the cycling for too long. I'm like, all right, okay. But then next the boxing comes on. I was like, oh, okay, and then you know, it keeps changing, and then like, okay, now you're like, what the fuck's going on? Like, what is actually
right.
Who is winning?
I mean, yeah, for me, the Olympics is. I've never been really too interested in the Olympics. It's probably one of my least favorite sporting events, just because there's a bit too much going on for me. Like at least like, no, because we talked about
Favorite sporting events.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about storylines.
What's worse than the Olympics?
What's worse than the Olympics?
Every other sporting event.
I don't know.
What's better than the Olympics?
What's better than the Olympics? Well, I like most major sporting events when there's
league
like
doesn't
build up.
count.
League does count.
Dude, league does count. And I fucking love the league finals.
What are you, my fucking dad?
Yeah.
What is this?
Video games ain't sport.
What am I listening to?
Like
here?
I love the World Cup. I love the Euros. I love the Rugby World Cup as well. It's just like for me. It's easier to follow along the storyline if there's just like one event or one tournament going on.
Right,
with the Olympics, it's just like, what stage are we at? What sport is this? I've never even heard of this sport. What the fuck is handball? How do I get invested in handball when I don't even know the fucking rules of handball?
Against the wall.
I totally agree with you. And so I could have watched it on Japanese TV. The problem is that I don't understand fully what's being said all the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like I realized when watching it on Japanese TV, I'm like, wow, actually like knowing who the people are and why I should give a shit is actually really important.
Oh, yeah.
I thought just being able to leave it on the background, that'd be entertaining.
That's the whole
enough.
point of commentators,
Right.
right?
And I realized, and I got my VPN and I watched it on the British website.
Do you use ExpressVPN?
I did use ExpressVPN.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, I was watching with the British commentary, and the commentary was really good. And it was, I didn't realize how much it added to it, because there's some commentary that had me like actually dying, like laughing. Like I think the British rowing team didn't win like any gold medals, and one of the commentators just couldn't hold back. He was so pissed off, and he was like, "The absolute state of British rowing. we invested £27 million in British rowing, and we didn't get a single gold medal." And it was just like live on TV, like right after they just lost, and it's like he's just going in. He's like, no
Holy
chill.
shit.
And I was like, I felt embarrassed. I'm like, imagine you're the rowers that made this guy on BBC go off on one, just like go on a tirade.
Legendary.
This is like all the other good sports I don't know anything about. Like Taekwondo, I don't know anything about. But the commentators help explain everything as you're going. And it is annoying when you're watching it for too long, because then they start over again. And they start explaining it again, because they assume that people are only watching for short amounts of time.
Yeah, because nobody knows what the hell the rules are.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I was watching like diving as well. Diving is really fun to watch.
Oh yeah, diving's super fun to watch.
It was really fun. I was like, whoa, okay, I'm really invested.
I think that's the only like sports that I like in the Olympics, is like just the obscure ones that you never get to see otherwise. So it's like with like tennis and rugby, it's like, you know, that's playing all year
Rugby
round,
is shit in the Olympics. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's like 5 minutes a side or something, and there's only like 10 minutes of rugby.
Well, most major sports that have like bigger competitions are like pretty shit in the Olympics, I find.
Yeah, 'cause they send like the B team.
Yeah,
They don't send like
you
the
look at
actual...
like the football or the rugby or like the tennis,
Yeah.
or
Baseball as well.
There's baseball there. So
there's baseball. Yeah,
there's
Japan beat
baseball.
America,
or like
yeah.
basketball as well, right?
There's basketball.
Like sports that have like a competition that's just more prestigious than the Olympics for that specific sport. I feel like it just takes a bit of the wind out. The real magic of the Olympics is watching this small sport that you've never heard of.
Well, yeah, because a lot of these sports don't have any major leagues to push them and give them a lot of money, and the Olympics are the only time
I did see a bit of like the skateboarding, because I was interested in that. I think Japan got a gold medal in it.
Yeah, like it's all kids as well.
Yeah,
it's all like 10-year-old kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, dude.
God, imagine winning a fucking right. It's like, what was I doing at 10 years old?
I realized watching the Olympics this year has been awful. Like every single athlete, right? He looks like 30. They interview him, he's like 21, and he's just won the gold medal. I'm like, what the fuck, man? This man is built like a Greek god, and he's won a medal, and he's got his shit together.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Like you've reached that point where you reached that point when you
Well,
grow,
literally
when you,
everyone in the Olympics is younger than me.
yeah, not even the Olympics, or when you grow, when you're young, everyone you watch on TV is just older than you,
Yeah.
and it's just like something you get used to. Like
Yeah.
every athlete, every major like personality is just older than you, and then you get to a point where you start seeing people that's younger than you and
Achieving these amazing things.
these
right?
amazing
Yeah.
things, and like starting football.
And I'm like,
teams
geez,
and-
like at 21, I was fucking masturbating and eating Cheetos. Like, meanwhile, this kid's just won a fucking Olympic gold medal.
Yeah, I was getting really pissed off because every single time they introduced someone, they were just younger than me. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Where's the 30-year-old? Get him in. What does he do?
He's the veteran. He's the
Yeah,
coach.
like,
Yeah.
Fuck, bro.
The coach is like 27 years old. It's like, Jesus.
It's pissing me off. I'm like, this surely there has to be someone aged 24.
That's why I kind of almost prefer the Winter Olympics a lot of times, because I feel that in the Winter Olympics, there's more of those like more niche sports that you really only get to see in the Olympics. Otherwise, you really have to go deep for it. Like curling, for example, is like I
curling's
never
fun.
thought I would care about curling until I
Yeah.
watched the curling like 2 Winter Olympics back, and I'm like, damn, I want to try this. This looks fun as fuck, because I didn't even know the rules to curling at first. I was like, it's just a bunch of people scrubbing some ice. It's like, all right, cool, sick. But then when you actually like learn the intricacies of the game, it's just like, all right, that's actually like really cool.
I don't understand why like every country just doesn't agree to take like a week off during the Olympics.
What, to just sit down and watch
Yeah,
it?
just sit down, chill, and watch it. Why not? Every country can have a week off.
Seems like the world economy might have a different small issue with that. I don't know.
That's all right. That's all right.
I don't know. I mean, it's like once every 4 years, right?
Yeah,
the Olympics.
take a week off.
I mean, okay,
A week off in 4 years.
Do you get patriotic at all during the Olympics?
I listen to what the commentators tell me to do. The commentators tell me I should care about something. I'm like, all right, I'm caring.
Do you get patriotic at all about like any sporting event?
Yeah. League of Legends. I want the EU boys to win.
Well, I mean,
I always
obviously,
want
but
the
like,
EU boys to win.
Yeah.
again, anything else?
For me, the World Cup and the Euros. I actually stayed up to watch the Euros and watch England get beaten this time
yeah.
in the finals once again.
Good.
And had
How was that?
It was horrible. Had to record Trash Taste like the day as well, which is why I
stayed
was
up till like 4 a.m.
Yeah, do you remember last time we recorded Trash Taste where I was absolutely dead?
Yeah,
It's because
'cause
I
you
was like up watching fucking England just int.
Well, see, I do get patriotic over like Wales in rugby. I want Wales to win rugby.
Oh, yeah.
And then if Wales get knocked out of something and England is still in it, it's like, okay, now I'm rooting for England to lose. You'd think it would be like, you'd think most people would be like,
oh, yeah, I'm going
No.
for England now.
yeah,
No,
I want
no,
England
no.
to win. It's like,
Yeah.
no. That's like, I can't let England win now.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they'll never let, the problem is with English people is that they're the worst when they win at the sport they like.
Yeah.
Right.
Every time they win, it's like every single country hates them. Because they somehow are the worst country at winning.
Yeah, they're like bad losers.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, bad winners. Yeah.
Well, it's just like every single country hates having the fans in their country of English
Yeah, yeah.
fans because they're the worst.
yeah.
It's terrible.
Like people think because you're Welsh, part of Great Britain, that
Yeah.
if Welsh aren't in it, you're gonna root for England, right?
No,
and it's the
no,
complete fucking opposite. Except if it's the other way around. Like I remember when Andy Murray won Wimbledon, it was like Britain's first win in Wimbledon for God knows how many years. It was like fucking decades, right? And it was like the only time where like English people are happy to cheer for like Scottish people because Andy Murray's Scottish, I believe.
Yeah.
But they aren't happy to cheer the other way around. Everyone hates English people, right?
That's true. That's true.
And normally English people won't cheer for Scottish people or Welsh people, but once it's Great Britain, everything's
Yeah,
fine.
everyone's buddy-buddy.
Everyone's buddy again. It's Team GB now.
Which is really fucking confusing because depending on the sport, it's totally up to the sport whether or not it's a Welsh, Scottish, and English team,
Right.
Or if it's a British team, or I think there's 1 or 2 sports where Wales and England are combined,
Yeah.
but Scotland isn't.
Yeah.
So it's really
that
confusing.
whole like
So-
system of like
Yeah.
Wales, Scotland is just so confusing to someone outside of that country. Like I've had it explained to me about 3 or 4 times. I believe by you two, and I still don't understand what it is. I'm
It's
like,
not that complicated.
I'm like, so what's considered UK? What's Great Britain? What's the Commonwealth? What's all of this shit? Like it's just really confusing to me.
I mean, do we want to get? Just watch the CBC Grey video.
Yeah, just, there's plenty of videos
I could
on
try
it.
and explain it.
Yeah,
but-
there's plenty of videos on it. We're not going to explain it.
Yeah.
But you should learn that Wales exists. And
See, but at least like, you know, in the case with like Wales and England, right? Like at least you got, you know, I feel a lot of the same sports you guys are either good at or bad at, right? So like say for example, like in the rugby, right? Wales and England, pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, they're not like top, but they're, you know, usually stay up near the top, right? So like at least you have that choice.
Yeah.
I don't have that choice with my 2 countries because sports that Australia is good at, Japan sucks at. And sports that Japan is good at, Australia sucks at.
Yeah,
so like in the soccer, right? Like Japan's pretty good. Australia is shit. In the cricket, Japan don't even play cricket. And same with the rugby is probably like the only thing because I think last Rugby World Cup Japan came like 8th, I think, like top 8 or something.
It was hosted in Japan.
Yeah, which was hype as fuck, right?
Yeah.
Because Japan is never that good.
Yeah.
That was the only time where I was like, all right, Japan, you did good, but you're gonna have to go back to Australia now after that.
Is Australia good at rugby?
Yeah, Australia's really good, and they're in the top 4.
Yeah, I don't watch sports often, mainly because of it's just especially when we live in this time zone. What the fuck? When the fuck is this shit happening? The reason why it's so easy for me to keep along with the Olympics is because it's just all day. It's great. I wake up, it's on. I go to bed, it's on. Like it's
I mean, that's kind of what I liked about big sporting competitions. Any age I was, where you turn on the TV and it's just sports playing, and it's just fun, and it's fun to watch something where every match matters to somebody. I just wish I knew more about who was competing in the Olympics.
There's no way you can though. Like
there's no way you can.
There's so much information, and then even like. I was getting confused because even in like some of the sports like taekwondo or some of the martial arts, there's like weight divisions. And there's so many weight divisions. There's so many competitors in the weight divisions, and there might be multiple ones from your country in the one weight division. So it's really hard to be like, all right, wait, who am I rooting for? What the fuck is going on?
I just see the flag and I'm like, oh, I recognize that one. Yeah. Go that one.
That's basically what it boils down to, right? It's just like, I like that country. Let's see that country do well.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I've never heard of Liechtenstein before. I think they're good at this sport. Go there.
Do they compete in the Olympics?
I don't even know. There's dude. Like, okay, watching the opening ceremony, and you know how they have to like go through all the countries they're competing. There was like over 100 countries that were competing this year, but it was funny because they were going not in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
They were going in like Japanese, like hiragana order, which is completely different.
I was wondering what kind of order they were going in. It just seemed like the most weird order that had ever been done.
That's why there were like, some countries starting with C that came after countries starting with K. Because in Japanese alphabet, it's like in the same order. So like, I remember my sister in Australia was texting me because she was watching it as well. And she was like, oh, it's really funny because these Australian commentators have been explaining for the past 10 minutes why these countries are coming out in this order. They literally have to explain the Japanese writing system to an Australian fucking audience to be like, so hear me out. This is how it works. And this is why it's the weird order. But like, I heard, dude, there were so many countries in there where I was like, that sounds like a made-up word. Like, that's not a real country.
Some of them aren't, if I'm correct, aren't even countries. Like, I think like...
Some of them are like micronations.
Some of them are, I think, territories of other countries. Like, there's the Cayman Islands as well is listed as its own country as well, which is like, I don't think that is. Dude, I saw some drama happen live while I was watching boxing. There was like a British guy versus a French guy. And
I mean, that's drama already.
Yeah, that's drama already. Which is
let's go back to history.
That's hundreds of years of drama right there.
Napoleon just makes a fucking exposed video or whatever.
It was literally like that. And they were boxing, right? And so obviously when you're boxing, sometimes they do the hugging thing. And it's like, okay, cool. So when they were doing the hugging thing, like I think the French guy was like headbutting the British guy.
Oh shit!
And he like made him bleed, and the ref was like, "Hey, don't do that again." He did it again, and then he just immediately disqualified him.
Right.
The
French guy.
Yeah. And he had a fucking mental breakdown. And started like shouting and stuff, going up to all the cameras, being like, "No, I won! No, I won!" into the cameras, and they were like announcing it, and he was like, "No, stop announcing it! Stop announcing it!
Stop the count!"
Yeah. He was literally like, "Stop! This is bullshit! There's no way!" And he was like throwing a massive fit. It was so crazy.
Jesus Christ! How did I not see that?
I don't know. When it was happening, I was like, "Oh shit! Am I watching drama live? Yo, sick!" And I didn't want any good person watching.
Literally just
live.
watch World Star.
You
watched a highly televised World Star.
It was great. The live league thing started popping up like midway. It was great. I immediately went to Twitter, as any good person would when featuring drama. I was like, oh, this is great. So I went to Twitter and I watched it, and I was just watching everyone else talk about the drama I was watching.
Oh, that's weird because I've seen so many clips of the Olympics on
There's
Twitter.
a lot more drama in the Olympics that happens.
I think I've watched more Olympics on Twitter than I have on television.